Yeah, just waiting for that 10-second mark to hit, because sometimes YouTube will cut off the first few seconds. So, welcome folks, particularly those who are watching later, since it'll take usually a couple minutes for people to start popping up in the live chat and everything. I am Nathan P. Butler. This is the Battlefront Livestream podcast. Again, not so much a podcast in its format. This is not an MP3 file you're downloading through iTunes or something. This is instead more of a live stream meets vodcast type of thing. The key thing with the term podcast being that this is much more about the discussion with those in the chat, discussion with any guests that I happen to have on, or commentary for the game, rather than about the actual gameplay itself, because the gameplay itself seems to be pretty standard, unless I'm showing you something new a lot of times with a game that just came out. I, of course, am the guy behind the Star Wars Timeline Gold, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology available anywhere, at over 3,100 pages at this point. You can find the 20th anniversary edition that just came out in October over at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline. I am the author of A Saga on Home Video, a fan's guide to U.S. Star Wars home video releases, which you can find on Amazon, and am one of the two hosts of both Star Wars Beyond the Films with Mark Hurleman and Cloud City Casino with Michael Morris, both of which can be found over on StarWarsReport.com. So, I'm just going to jump back in here. No real goal here, aside from not sniffling the entire time. Hey, Kenny. Basically just going to jump in here probably into going after two particular goals. I'm not actually going to be messing with the time challenges this time, and this is something that I figure is worthwhile to perhaps bring up from time to time. They did do a recent update to the game. They did a patch, and the patch has added a few features, such as the fact that now we have a countdown going for the end of any of these daily challenge type things. We also have a countdown going now for your daily crate, so you can see when it's going to pop up. Just minor tweaks to the UI, minor tweaks to some bugs they were running into, but nothing major, and certainly no reintroduction of microtransactions or anything. Hey, JL. So, that being said, I would say that you look at something like today's time challenge, which is defeat 5 dark side and 5 light side heroes. Unless you're going to be playing heroes versus villains, it's not all that particularly advantageous to even do it. Because you'll notice there that you have to defeat 5 dark side heroes and 5 light side heroes, which means either being the one to get the kill shot on them in a regular match, or play heroes versus villains throughout, which is a pretty unbalanced mode, probably the most unbalanced mode of all of this stuff so far. And what's your reward? 100 credits. So the reward for spending a good chunk of your afternoon or evening or whatever going after trying to get these 10 is to get less than about a third of the credits you would get from doing one full-length Galactic Assault match. That's kind of useless. Kind of the same thing here. This I haven't actually been going after. I just happened to have got it because I've been running around as the officer trying to get disruption kills using the little pistol that's kind of like a sniping pistol that he has. What I'm actually trying to do right now, for those who are curious, and I'll try to do some more of these, but if I just reach the point where it's driving me nuts, I'll probably just ditch it and do something else, is this one here, which is to assist in defeating 25 enemies by using various disruption status effects. I've got 5 so far. I've been trying to do it since the middle of yesterday. It is a pain in the butt. Basically, you have to do your disruption zap, and I have a rare disruption card, so it's a pretty decent radius. And then one of the characters you've disrupted, one of the enemies you've disrupted, has to be killed either by you or someone else before that effect wears off. So you get the kill assist for them that counts toward this. I've gotten more today than I did yesterday, but it is still kind of a pain in the butt. The other thing that I'm looking at right now, I guess the other two things that I'm looking at right now are trying to also, with the specialist, do those 40 infiltration kills to get that infiltration crate. I'm only at 13 out of that. And then for these starfighters, I'm working on the dual proton torpedo kills for the bomber, as we saw yesterday. Have spent some of my crafting parts to get some more cards at this point. Still sitting on all the crystals that I've had so far from the milestones. So we're going to jump into... let's see, if I want to do the Zappo kind of thing, we'll jump into Strike instead this time, to start with. Is it better than Battlefront 2? Or sorry, is it better than Battlefront 1? I enjoy it more than the original Battlefront game, mainly because of the class system and the way that you actually earn coming in as resources or reinforcements instead of it being just you happen to be lucky and pick up a power-up, that kind of thing. And the diversity of eras, the fact that it's got a story and that sort of thing. It still has its issues, but I definitely think it's better than the first Battlefront was of this era. Is it as good as Battlefront 2 for PS2 back in the day? It's been a long time since I played that. I prefer the story of this one to the story of that one. And I tend to prefer this gameplay to the gameplay of that one, but when it comes to the modes, options, and sort of the bigger structure, the original probably still has it over this one a little bit. It just depends on what it is about the game that you like or want to see more of, you know what I mean? As for how long streaming, probably about an hour. And week so far has been alright. Fairly busy, but again, monitoring, we're at that dead time of day, so probably won't see much come up there. And I did just hear back from my insurance that it looks like they're about to... Oh, I'm assault. I didn't want to be in assault class. I thought I chose specialist, but it was probably one of those things where it wouldn't let me move and I didn't notice it. Where you got to go to the menu to change your weapon and then back out of that menu to be able to actually change your class. A bug. But yeah, I heard back from my insurance that now that the now they kind of have an answer from the insurance of the lady who was primarily responsible for the accident as to how that investigation went and everything. They've got a plan going to actually get my car either fixed or replaced. Right now they're assuming fixed, but that's because they haven't got an estimate on repairs yet. And if the estimate turns out to be so... Yeah, it's I was on, officer, just wouldn't let me choose it. Assuming the estimate winds up being less than the total value of the car, then they'll repair it. But if it's higher than the total value of the car, then they will total it. And that's when the new car replacement, or the better car replacement thing kicks in for me, where you get basically the value of a car that is 1 year newer and 15,000 miles less. I really need to get over there if I'm going to try to... If my whole point here is to use the officer not just to get kills, but to get disruption kills, I need to get close to those droids over there. Or not to the droids, to the clones. I am a droid. I looked down at my hand and it's a droid hand. Bound and directed by his tan droid hand. Yes, a song I know only from the Scream movies.
The package has been retrieved by enemy forces.
Pretty sure. Okay. There's some. And boom. Okay, so disruption. Except nobody's going to kill him now that he's disrupted. So it's not going to do any good for me. So I disrupted, but my disruption doesn't do any good for my count. That's why I'm trying this on Strike, because at least they're smaller maps. You're more likely to run into situations where you'll be able to sort of bottleneck a situation. I may just say screw it, though, because I don't like Strike as much as I like Galactic Assault, just in general, from a gameplay variation kind of way. And I'm not a big fan of how Strike is essentially a round 1, round 2, round 3 type of thing. Okay, I did disruption. Did I get him? Did I get anybody? Nope. Gonna die. That gun is just not fast enough to fire when you are up close. So I should probably switch to the blurg. But I want to get 50 kills with this to get the recoil reduction. And then after I get 150, it'll have the dual zoom. Like I just went through and got the dual zoom for the for one of the sniper rifles, your third... no, sorry, the second sniper rifle that you get for the specialist. So... You twat! Or at least it was somebody... Oh yeah, so at least it was somebody who was, you know, shooting me somehow through the wall. presumably he was on the edge and he was just running behind the wall, so it looked like he was shooting from behind the wall. Yeah, Iden's a pretty cool character. She doesn't get nearly enough to do in this, and if you didn't read the novel, I think to a large degree her change in this story feels like it happens too fast. But if you've read the novel and you sort of see what her thought process has already been in some encounters, such as with the people there, then yeah. One second, I gotta answer an email. I gotta answer a student email. We can only take it once, right? That is correct.
The carrier has dropped the package. Reacquired.
It's always interesting when you have an email that comes in that basically asks something that you have already answered in emails that you have sent out about once a week since like August. And you have somebody who's acting as if this is brand new information, which means either they didn't read the emails or they somehow forgot despite it being said over and over again.
The carrier has been intercepted.
Or something else, none of which are necessarily good things. I also don't like Strike very much because Strike generally doesn't allow for much in the way of reinforcements. You usually just have the 2 character class types. Yeah, this is as fast as this one will shoot. So it's much more for sniping, which is more of a big map thing than a Strike small map weapon. Haha! Okay, that one I think just got me one, and maybe that kill assist did. So I may have just gotten 2. I'm having a hard time being able to determine whether if I kill someone after I disrupt them, if that counts towards that count or not. Because the actual description says assist. But does that mean assist as in you do at least some of the damage, or does it mean assist as in you don't get the final kill shot, so you get what the game calls a kill assist? I'm assuming it's that you got to get what the game calls a kill assist. Ay, 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 ay. Get back behind cover. Up. Yeah, and see, it's a round by round kind of thing. So to me, it's a mode that's meant to be faster and more, not faster and more intense, but faster and smaller maps than, say, Galactic Assault. But once you take into the fact that it could go up to 3 different rounds, then you're like, oh, I get it. And what I find is that I have yet to see any rounds of Assault where the objective was actually being played by the objective required team. So, Jim, I could not say, because I can't add you in while the stream is going already. I will be back on, though. I'm getting my ass kicked anyway, because I'm trying to get close enough to do disruptions. And it's not, just not working on this particular map. I should either go Galactic Assault, or really almost any Strike other than this map, because the aim distances are shorter on most of the other Strike maps. Camino is kind of the outlier when it comes to the aim distance available. So I'm not sure, Jim. I will be back on, probably doing a stream at some point during the day before 2 o'clock on Saturday. And I'll probably be back on Sunday, though I don't know when on Sunday. And at some point, I'm going to be doing a stream that's not going to be, like, depends on my, like, what time, because probably on Saturday, I'd like to do a Battlefront stream if I have the time, but I really want to make sure I get in a Doom VFR stream, because Doom VFR drops tomorrow for PlayStation VR, and I should have that coming in the mail tomorrow. I just know I won't be able to stream it all tomorrow. Crisis on Earth X was pretty good. We pretty much called the major changes to Arrow and Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, and there really weren't any major changes it seems like are going to happen to Supergirl because of it. Damn it! Why can't the droid run up there like a freaking clone can? Come on! There you go! Come on! God damn! Get up there, you dick! There! And I'm gonna get killed almost immediately anyway, so that was, you know, worth it. Probably the only stream tonight, yes. Jump and roll! Jump and roll! That's our only evasive maneuvers. I always forget to do the roll when I'm playing first person though, because it's such a weird thing. Like when I'm in third person, it's easy to remember, but when I'm playing with a gun that is effectively a sniper rifle type gun, except as a pistol, like a sniper one, it's a little trickier to remember to do. Because I like to go into first person for that, so it's less jarring to jump into the gun. Not to mention the fact that on this pistol, if I aim down sights on this pistol, this is all I get in third person, whereas in first person, I actually go into the scope. Bing. There was only one of my guys up there. Get around and get at least a little bit of an angle on some of these guys so I can zap them with a disruption, maybe.
Oh, I'm trying to get up there again, and it's not working.
I know that. It just is, you know.
The package has been returned.
For some reason, I find that if I'm zooming in, I like to not have the character still on the screen. If it's a far in zoom, it doesn't. Ah! There. It's a psychological thing, I guess. Star Fox player. No. Last Star Fox game I played was on the N64. Of course, it helps that my... whoa! It helps that my Wii U is basically gathering dust, except for playing Zombie U back in the day and Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I see no reason to buy a Switch yet, so.
I got the package.
I was a Star Fox player. An N64 Classic Edition? Maybe. Depends. They'd be crazy not to, given the money they're able to make on the other ones, but at the same time, their whole, we're only going to make this one available for a very short time and not have enough to meet demand is ridiculous for the NES Classic, so... I tend to not put a whole lot of stock in the ability of Nintendo to make wise business decisions. If I can, I guess I can't disrupt from down here. It's probably too far a range. Let's try it. Yep, I didn't get any disruption things show up at all. I mean, they wouldn't need to switch to a virtual console to be able to bring out stuff like that. I mean, when they've got the NES Classic out there and you've been able to do Nintendo virtual console things since the Wii, you know? And it's the exact same... God damn it, come on! It's the exact same games. Come on! Get through the hole! Motherfucker. Yeah, definitely going to jump to Galactic Assault, because that was mostly a worthless match, I think, for what I'm trying to get. I got to be able to get close enough to get disruption, and that is just not a map for close quarters with that gun for the officer. Yeah, I didn't get anything for that one. Even though there was that one that I disrupted and then I killed, it did not count. So I guess it has to be a kill assist, which means you have to rely on somebody else to do your killing for you if you get close enough to do the disruption. Great! Fantastic. Which just means that that's going to be an even longer slog to get that milestone done. And I'll probably wind up getting a disruption crate or whatever, or no, sorry, not disruption. The infiltration thing, when I go back into it as specialist, I'll probably wind up getting an infiltration crate that just gives me a card that I already have that gives me a duplicate that's barely worth any credits. That is the other thing that kind of stands out to me. If you take, let's say you get a duplicate star card that is a common, right? So 1 tick mark on it. You get 200 credits for that duplicate star card. You get only half of that for completing a daily milestone. The daily milestones at this point are not worth it at all. Be nice if they were. Not so much right now. Yeah, she did an interview in which she said something about not intending to play Rey after episode 9, but whether or not that winds up happening, we still got a few years, or I guess a couple years to go for episode 9. A lot of things can change. What game would I like to play on Switch? They would need to have something that actually was not multi-platform to draw me there, that was actually something that also was not on multiple consoles of their own. And unfortunately, after Breath of the Wild, I'm remembering why I stopped playing Zelda games after Twilight Princess. So I do not intend to play another Zelda game anytime in the near future. So you need something akin to like a Zombie U type of thing that's just maybe a survival horror and so awesome I can't pass it up, that winds up being a killer app to get me to buy a Switch. Because that's what happened with the Wii U. Was I was really stoked at the idea of playing Zombie U, and it got me interested enough that I wound up saying, okay, fine, I'll go buy a Wii U for that. But the Wii U has always been sort of a sitting in the back room kind of thing. I mean, Nintendo has this thing of having their consoles not be up to modern console standards on almost any technical level. They're always sort of a step behind or a generation behind, which means that a lot of multi-platform stuff doesn't come onto that platform at all. And then when it comes to your first-party games, which is their main draw, the exclusive first-party games, I don't really have an interest anymore in Mario stuff, or to some degree Metroid stuff now that I've played Other M and played all the way through the Prime trilogy. They really got to up their game to have a draw. I mean, a friend of mine bought a Switch. Why? Because he's a big Street Fighter fan and he wanted the upteenth re-release of Street Fighter 2 that is on the Switch. That's not going to draw me in because I've already had that game since the Super Nintendo era and I've got multiple versions of it. And there are 3 games past that in the series. No, it's not going to do it. They need something solid. But me, I mean, from a Mario standpoint, give me something for the 3DS, which I still have. Give me a 3DS game of like Super Mario Land 2, 3D Land 2, because playing the Mario 3D game, Super Mario 3D Land, was fantastic on the 3DS, but it seems like they've given up on the 3D part of 3DS and aren't even bothering to consider that sort of thing anymore.
For the Republic! Enemy transport, absorbing ion blast.
Let's see. Alright. Alright. Boom. Okay, somebody kill people I just disrupted. Anybody? Anybody. Thank you very much for just making me waste my disruption. I'm never going to finish this milestone. I'm even walking. See there? Go up to the cards here. I'm using the highest level of disruption possible without upgrading it to epic. It has an 18 whatever range, and it still seems like it's barely useful because you have to get assist kills, not kills. God, that's it's the extent to which that is a pain in my buttocks is pretty hefty. But I want to get that milestone done. I'll get some points for playing the objective. Why not? Let's see. Do you think Star Wars will do an episode 10, 11, 12? Well, I mean, again, remember, there was a time when Lucas had said that there was going to be 12 films starting with A New Hope, so we've got a ways to go as far as picking up with that, but from a more serious standpoint, it depends on where they leave this trilogy. And I mean, if they got movie plans for the next 20 years for Star Wars, as has been rumored, then probably. But I mean, it all kind of comes down to that question of what's most marketable at the time and that sort of thing. Ah! Alright, there's disruption. Somebody kill him. Somebody kill him. The guy that was underneath that all of a sudden's over here. At least I got a headshot kill towards that basically meaningless daily one. Yeah, much better. Yeah, as soon as you're actually in closer quarters, it works a lot better. So I tend to find that Naboo is a decent place to be able to do them. Relatively. It just kind of depends on where you are. Like there's a couple places kind of like over here, kind of further down the line towards those things, where you've got a decent little, not a bottleneck, but close to a bottleneck that you can go through, so that anybody who goes through there, it's easier to hit with your disruption. And usually you got guys who are kind of flanking them up on the hill, shooting downward to take them out, so you can get those assist kills. But that part of the battle doesn't last very long, unfortunately. Clone Han Solo and bring him back, or do time travel? No. No. Ah, that's true. You could do that. You could stick together and actually pull that off. X-Men Days of Future Past Star Wars episode, go back in time. No, keep time travel the hell out of Star Wars. We've already had it before a few times. It just doesn't fit the aesthetic. We had it in Tales. We had it in, I guess that was also Tales. I think of the Mace Windu story where he went after the little crystal thing. We've had it in Cross Current, slash Riptide. It doesn't fit the Star Wars aesthetic very well. Go! Get those bad guys, but don't run too far ahead, or we're gonna say...
Time to head back!
Time to head back! In that case. If you clone him, do you not negate part of the sacrifice of his death? Do you not negate some of the emotional impact of his death? And do you not find yourself in a Thomas Riker, no emotional investment type of situation? Star Wars can't survive without Harrison Ford. I would point you to Rogue One, Episode 1, Episode 2, Episode 3. Most of the Legends continuity, at least anything prior to A New Hope, just about. Harrison Ford is not the core of Star Wars by any means. You can do Star Wars more easily without Harrison Ford, for instance, than you can without Carrie Fisher. Yeah, but I highly doubt that they kept Han. Isn't like Walt Disney's brain in a jar or some crap? Wow. It's sucking right now. Let me go back to first person so that it doesn't feel quite as awkward when I'm trying to do long aim. All right, guys. Get him, 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 and... Disabling droid weapons. Get him now, get him now! I used disruption. Come on, get him. Ah, mother. Nobody got him. Didn't get the kill assist. Didn't get any progress toward the milestone. Yeah, I've been keeping up with all of the... Yes, he just falls from way the hell up there. With no Jedi ability or anything like that. And he falls down a pit on a planet that explodes. I would more believe that Mace Windu survived than that Han survived, because at least Mace was a Jedi, and at least Samuel L. Jackson seems to want him to come back, as opposed to Harrison Ford, who's like, F it, I'm done. I'm so glad I got to be in this last one and sort of relive that, you know, whole experience, but F it, I'm done. I'm going to go and remake. I'm going to go and bring back Blade Runner and bring back Indiana Jones and try to make everybody forget Crystal Skull ever happened. Yes, I have been keeping up with the Marvel comics, though I haven't read any of today's, or I guess yesterday's new releases yet. They're sitting on my Comixology app to be downloaded. I just haven't thought to do anything with it yet.
I'm under fire.
See, we're getting close to that bottleneck here, but I don't see a lot of battle droids coming up this side. Most of them seem to be coming up the other side, which is kind of weird. Somewhat unusual. All right, guys. Ready? Ready? Ready to disrupt some guys. Ah! Big tank. What will I say if he comes back somehow? Probably, wow, that's lame as hell, is probably what I will say if he comes back somehow. Will Kylo kill Leia? I think if anyone does, it should be him. But will he? Hard to say. I think the trailer gives you that impression, but the trailer also initially gives you the impression of certain conversational things happening between Leia and Kylo, and unless Leia, Kylo, and Luke are in the same place, you've got another trailer from, I think it was the international one that was originally released in Japan, that shows you a completely different sounding conversation where Luke is there in the exact same place, and Rey looks exactly the same as she does in the other shot where she's supposedly talking to Kylo. So, you know, you can make a trailer pretty much show anything, and it doesn't have to actually be lined up with what actually happens in the film at all. Or you can just, you know, film a bunch of scenes just for trailers and then not have them in the film and let people bitch about it like they did for Rogue One.
Even myself. Got a friend out there. Republic sent an ally.
Come on, let's get to phase 2. Let's get closer up here so Disruption actually has a chance of getting kill assists, because this is redonkulous. Up.
The force around you.
Lando should take over for Han and avenge Han. Well, Lando's not even going to be in Episode 8, so I'm wondering if they're going to even say that Lando is alive in the sequel trilogy era, because we haven't seen him yet. I don't even think we've seen him past the Battle of Jakku, have we? On Wikipedia, they say Han Solo was what? He was laughing out loud as he died? Han Solo was lol. I guess his head did kind of lull backwards whenever he had that blade stabbed through his chest. Again, that is my... Oh, that Han Solo was a smuggler. Yeah. The movies say that. So... I must have missed a piece somewhere in there. Etc., etc. And talking about how he uses the compartments for smuggling, never thought he'd be smuggling himself, etc., etc. Up, 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 and away! Ah. Okay, anybody else coming into this one? Come on, there we go. Again, I need to get assists, not actual kills. So let's boost them up.
We win!
We fight, we win! Sometimes. We'll have a better chance of fighting and winning when the game is more balanced. Although I actually tend to see more of a split in terms of victory versus defeat here than otherwise. All right, someone's helping us out. Go, 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 go! Phone is ringing, but I'm pretty sure it's the exact same number that calls that work phone like twice a day.
Make way!
that's basically just, "Hi, we'd like to talk to you about your student loans." Well, that's wonderful. Since I don't have any, I'm pretty sure you're full of shit. So, okay, cool. All right, guys. Here we go, and disrupt.
Get to the west turbo tank.
Well, apparently it didn't disrupt whatever was blasting out there because the blasts kept on going. That wasn't helpful, apparently. Maybe I need to get the get some more star cards just to get up to the point where my officer has the replenish or whatever it is.
West Juggernaut offline. We lost the controls.
Where you're able to, whatever it's called, resourceful, yeah, so that it helps with the recharge time to make it easier to just cycle through disruption over and over again. Because right now, getting these 25 disruption kill assists is ridiculous. Go, 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 go. Oh yeah, I'm a Republic guy at this point. Because I got a human hand. Okay, here we go. Gotta go across again. Staying on the... Ooh, how you like that? I am running and it's tilted. Got some Titanfall shit going on there.
East turbo tank. Get over there. Go.
I think that's more of Harrison Ford being like, dude, really? Really?
New enemy just landed. Can't identify. Grenade out.
All forces, prepare to attack!
Oh, damn it. I was about to use disruption there, but I think the disruption wouldn't have reached him. It would have been a little short. It's hard to tell where the edge of disruption is. For me, at least. Like where the boundary is of what actually has an impact. That is true. It may actually happen by complete accident. Well, see, it's the thing. It's basically, it's not even that you have to necessarily use the officer's disruption ability. You just have to use a disruption ability, but I'm pretty sure the only disruption abilities in the game are his and one that's used, I think, by Boba Fett. So you're pretty much locked into the officer disruption ability to be able to make it work. I believe. Oh, disrupt! Ah, mother! Killed by a tank from behind as I'm trying to enter and use disruption.
Rear fuel lines, we lose the cruiser. But I think we're gonna win. Weapons ready.
Alright, gotta get over to one of these because that's where they're gonna try to cluster. Hello, Ike. Come on. Yep, looks like that was what that call was because anybody official, anybody who was calling for any reason other than telemarketing generally will leave me a voicemail.
All batteries fire! Duracell, Energizer, all batteries fire!
There you go. How did it disrupt the guy like over here, but the guy that's right in front of me didn't get disrupted and was able to shoot me in the face without any disruption to his weapon at all? How exactly did that work?
Enemy has rigged the front pipeline.
Gotcha. I think Kylo and Han were talking telepathically when he asked no, because Han is not telepathic.
Han Solo, I'm captain of the Millennium Falcon.
Unidentified enemy on the battlefield.
I think there was a lot of trying to guess each other's intentions. I think they were assuming wrong, because I think that when he's like, you know, will you help me? And Han's like, yeah, and reaches forward to take the saber. I don't think Han expected that he was about ready to be seppuku'd, basically. He was about ready to have his hand on the blade whenever he winds up, you know, being stabbed through. I think he was expecting it's like, you're giving it to me so I can help you give up the dark side, or to help you turn away from Snoke or whatever, and then it turned out that Kylo did differently. What I wonder is whether or not Let's see if that one... I don't think that counted, but let's see if it did, because he was the one that was disrupted. Whoa! Oh, then there's Yoda. That's what I need to do. I need to just disrupt people before Yoda gets to them. Yoda, tear him up. Dang it. Too late. The wind-up and the pitch were too far apart, so to speak. Let's see. If you want Han Solo alive, don't worry. There's going to be a Han Solo movie very soon. It's just it won't be Harrison Ford. It'll be, you know, some guy that doesn't really look or seem like he's Han at all, except they're going to call him Han because, you know, movies. Whoa! Whoa! That's the other thing. Whenever you roll in first person, depending on how long you're holding it, it's easy to not realize that you have ducked.
We do this together.
Yeah, I'm not hyped for the Han Solo movie at all either. I'd like to think that whenever we finally see a trailer, it'll get me excited for it, but I've had zero interest in a Han Solo film since they announced it. I'm like, really? But it's got Daenerys Targaryen. No, I don't care. But don't you like her on Game of Thrones? Did you see Terminator Genesis?
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
I really think that they should have, okay, disruption. Neither of those two should have been able to still shoot. They were disrupted. That's the point of disruption.
Feel the force around you.
Yeah, I'm feeling the force all right.
Reinforcements landing.
Wait up, you little bastard. Let me zap somebody before you kill him, will you? Not that we're not about to lose the match probably anyway, but still. Where'd he go? Okay, disruption now. Go, 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 go. Kill him. And no kill assists, it looks like. Fan-bloody-tastic. Awesome. So completely worthless again.
Grenade deployed.
I got a feeling I'm eventually just going to get to a point where I'm just going to have to make it a point to alternate between classes each time I die, but not pay any attention whatsoever to milestones, so that I don't wind up driving myself nuts trying to do a milestone like this one.
Gotcha back.
I think Obi-Wan will come back as a Force Ghost with Hayden... Huh? Well, you're a little late to the party when it comes to the idea of them not doing a Han Solo movie without Harrison Ford, because that's going to happen.
Your destiny lies with me.
Then again, I mean, it's not like you really need to look like Harrison Ford to play a younger version of Harrison Ford, because we did already have Sean Patrick Flannery playing young Indiana Jones, and he looks nothing like Harrison Ford. So, you know, it could happen. To teach Rey, so have like Ghost Anakin or Ghost Obi-Wan come and train Rey. Depends on if Luke's gone, I guess, but that would seem kind of odd to me. Hello? Where did the battle droid go? Okay, let's sneak up close to some of them and use disruption again and pray that somebody kills one of them. Uh-oh! It's the big mamma jamma. Here, lights out.
On the front fuel pipe.
Shit! And the disruption came too late. I'm not even sure if it... Wait, I did get a kill. No, I got a kill assist because I was shooting him. I didn't get a kill assist for the disruption.
Success! We've removed the bomb from the front pipe.
Sounds like it's your connection, JL.
You didn't think I was gonna run, did you?
Unless others are getting the same thing.
Ally taken to the battlefield.
Just like, screw it, time to just actually try to kill something and not focus on disruptions. Because if I focus on disruptions, I'm just going to get disappointed. Not good today. Today I feel like my quality level of actual play is similar to the quality level of certain things as stated in Good Morning Vietnam, which is, it sucks the sweat off a dead man's, well, anyway. Suffice to say he has 2 of them. I don't know what that means, sir, but it sounds pretty negative to me. Saw Gerrera, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, Forrest Whitaker, ladies and gentlemen.
Explosive neutralized in the front pipe.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be, usually Sundays are the day that my wife and I go and do lunch together and stuff like that, but since she works this weekend, it will be the opposite. She'll be hanging with her dad on Sunday after she gets off work for a little bit, so I'll have more time to stream Sunday than otherwise. Exactly.
The enemy is retreating. Out of droids and out of firepower.
So you were assuming that they're telling the truth about not CGI recreating Leia. Though I'm assuming that they are telling the truth about that as well. Hey, it did carry over. I'll be damned. Yeah, so people like me, we've been bitching since the game launched that on the ending screen for the victory poses and everything, it's usually the exact same people over and over again. Yeah, see, I didn't get a single disruption one that time. I mean, I got some for the S5, but I didn't get a single disruption to help me with that milestone at all. But no, the screen would usually have like the same person for at least 3, if not all, because all the things that were showing on that victory screen tended to be related to each other. Like whoever got the most kills probably had the biggest kill streak, probably has the higher score, maybe the MVP, etc., etc. So you'd see the same person over and over again, but they changed it without mentioning it in the patch notes, it seems. So that basically on that victory screen, instead you have basically a 1st through 5th place now. I noticed it at first on Strike, but I wasn't sure if they had actually done it for all the modes or if it was just a Strike thing I just hadn't noticed before, and sure enough, it's here on Galactic Assault too. So now if you're in the top 5 players, you should be able to show up there like that. Does this mean I'm going back to Kashyyyk this time as a droid? Again. I used to love the hunt for Kashyyyk because Kashyyyk was a pain in the butt to actually get me to see. Like, I went a week and a half without ever seeing Kashyyyk, and now I've seen Kashyyyk so many times in the last few days, I'm freaking sick of it. Dun, dun, dun. Yep, back to Kashyyyk. Well, it's everybody going to keep going back to Kashyyyk.
Strategy involves the taking of Kashyyyk.
Our glorious strategy. Let's see. So EK asks if I prefer Battlefront 2 multiplayer to Battlefront 1 multiplayer. I prefer 2 for the moment, at least, because you have more customization options, so you can sort of play your way without having to necessarily get a ton of star cards to begin with. And because the classes are divided up by what their star cards and their initial abilities do, it's not a game where it seems like there's only, you know, like, for instance, in Battlefront 1, character loadouts almost always included, for most people, the jetpack or the jump pack, you know? So that was one star card slot taken up for virtually everyone. Whereas in this case, let's say you want Vanguard, Killstreak Vanguard. Well, that's lovely and all, except that is something only available to the Assault class. So if you're playing as another class, you have to play something different. Just sort of forces you to vary the play style. Like right now, if I was playing this not to get those disruption kills, I'd be using this pistol, and I'd be doing everything that I would normally do, but I'd be doing it from longer range than I'm tending to do it now, because I'm trying to get close enough to use disruption over and over again. But it forces you to kind of vary your play style at least a little bit. It's that douche that was shooting at me. Does the game have microtransactions? Now? No. Did it? Yes. Bye-bye. I do find you got some serious bullet sponge effects, though, in this game. For all but a couple of the heroes. It takes a lot of hits. Did I see Justice League? Nope. At this rate, I don't know when we're gonna see it. We may wait until like Dollar Theater, or I may say screw it and wait until there's a 4K home video release, because I hear such bad things about it. Yeah, throw a grenade down at my feet, you jerk. I'll blow your head off from up here. Oh, dang. I said, okay, I was at the kill assist. I was like, that can't have been a one-shot kill. Kill assist. Do I like Space Jam? It's been too long since I've seen it. And to answer the question about microtransactions, so it does not anymore. So the things that you get with the supply crates that you get with credits, the Troopers, Starfighter, or Hero crates that you get with credits to get more star cards and crafting parts and stuff like that, can be purchased either with credits or with crystals. And right now, crystals can only be gotten through certain milestones. But crystals are the premium currency, so basically, when the game launched, you could spend real money to get crystals to get crates. But because that was tied to progression, they removed it. Because basically, it's hard. There's a lot of mechanics into the game. But okay, so like if I want to open up cards, star card slots to go up to the maximum of 3 instead of the 1 that you start with for a particular class. If I want to use crafting parts to upgrade a star card, I have to have reached a certain, not only level of my account, which is that XP bar you see at the end of a match, I have to have a certain level of that class of trooper, or that hero or villain or ship or whatever it is. And that level is determined entirely, basically, by the number of tick marks on the star cards. So common has 1 tick mark and it's white. Uncommon has 2 tick marks and it's green. Rare has 3 tick marks that are blue, and then Epic has 4 tick marks that are purple. So basically, for instance, if I want to be like level 5 with with my officer class, I need to have maybe 5 common star cards with 1 tick mark each to get up to 5. Or maybe I could have 1 common and 1 epic, and I'd have 5, and that would give me 5. The problem then meant that those who bought crystals with real money could then get a ton of crates, supply crates, without having to actually earn them in-game. And since the supply crates were providing star cards, that would unlock your star card slots and unlock your ability to craft high-end cards and all that kind of stuff super, super fast, in a way that essentially destroyed the game's balance and progression. So they removed it with the idea being they're going to bring microtransactions back later, but they're retooling the system, though they haven't said how. So it was kind of a yes and no-ish kind of a thing. Like they had microtransactions, they will have... Dang it. They will have... Get down! Nope. Tried to roll off the edge, but I was blocked by that little thingy. They will have them again, but just not yet. And Black Friday, I don't do the crowds. Screw that. I certainly was not going to do busy parking lots in a rental car while I'm waiting for my car to be fixed. And it probably doesn't help that at the same time that Black Friday was going on, we were looking at the potential for hundreds of dollars in vet bills and at least $500 deductible that will eventually get paid back, but that's out of pocket at first on getting my car fixed. And possibly having to then have a down payment perhaps for a replacement car if it winds up being totaled. So yeah, Black Friday was not for me. Not gonna happen. Although I am very impressed by our political leaders, especially given the fact that we did have some political leaders a couple years ago who were pissed off at the idea that black holes were called black holes because they claimed that it was racist. That nobody seems to have raised racist concerns over the idea of Black Friday. So kudos to our political leaders for not being dumbasses that time. You know, credit where it's due. Sometimes they're not complete morons. Do I think any of the Star Wars games would translate well to film? There are some games you could translate well to film. It depends on whether... It's kind of the same thing as translating like to a book. So you got something like this, where this game, the way they connected it to a book was to give them a prequel story, which worked fine. But at the same time, if you had just told the same story as the game as a film, you would have had people being like, why am I bothering to watch this movie if I've already seen the story in a game? But then you take something like Battlefront 1. Battlefront 1 was a game that was mostly sans story, no story at all, pretty much. Which meant that when they adapted it for a novel to give you the Battlefront Twilight Company book, they just used sort of general concepts from the game as part of making it. And in that case, you could certainly do something like that to turn it into a... to create a movie that doesn't just tell the same story over again, that would draw people in and yet still have a tie to a game. I'm not sure how people would react to the idea of having a Star Wars movie based on a game as opposed to a game based on a movie, and what that would portend for future films, but maybe. Ah. Sniffly. I'm sure I missed some questions there while I was answering. And, am I sick of school yet? I mean, like I said, I'm in kind of an unusual position in that... Where am I even going? I'm just running around like an idiot.
Get back here! I want to kill you!
An ally has joined the battle.
Actually hit him and kill him! Okay, kill assist. Surely that counted. Surely that counted towards it. As long as the disruption effect hadn't completely worn out. So, well, that's cool, having actual certification you can get from graduation as opposed to just being basic graduation. So you actually have something that will actually help you on a resume. You don't get that a lot around here. Sick of school. Well, I mean, see, so for my thing, I mean, I've kind of never left school, right? I mean, you know, from my parents decided to give me sort of a head start before there was such a thing as Head Start, so I had 2 years of preschool, as they called it, before kindergarten. So 3 years old and 4 years old, and then kindergarten, which for me was, I believe, when I was 5, if I'm doing the math right, because my birthday's in October, and your enrollment, when you can enroll is based on when your birthday is throughout the year. Like, if you'll be this age by this certain date. So, like, my sister's one of the youngest in her classes. I was usually one of the oldest in my classes, at least in Indiana. And then went all the way through, you know, elementary, middle school, and high school, only to wind up then going into college directly, and then starting to teach with master's classes thrown in around 2008-ish, and have been teaching straight through. It's just that I taught for 12 and a half years in a traditional classroom and then now teach online. So in a lot of ways, it's sort of a different world right now that I'm living in than I did for so long. It's still school, but the flexibility and the way that it's so tailored to specific student needs feels very different. So that even though I am teaching not only through the regular school year, but I'm also checking the system on weekends, even though we don't technically have to, over almost every break, even though we don't technically have to. I'm still trying to give students that support unless they tell us not to check the system like they did during Thanksgiving break. And I teach the summer courses and lead the social studies team for those courses. You would think that I'd be burned out by now, but the flexibility that it allows keeps me from being burnt out. Like, technically, right now, I am monitoring the system here. I'm monitoring the system and still able to do a live stream. It just means that if something comes up that needs to be addressed that I can't address, like as I'm sitting there at the computer and I need to call somebody, text somebody, or something like that, then I just end the stream, do it, and then start another stream again, which happens every once in a while, but it's pretty rare. Because I can sort of figure out which times of day, like right now, tend to be the times when the students aren't really doing as much, because they're going home on the buses or they're getting dinner or whatever. Why was it showing him as red? but I mean, the flexibility allows it to not be burning out. Like I would have been burned out by like October, or starting to feel towards burned out by October in a traditional classroom, particularly where I used to teach, because it was such a, I mean, it wasn't a bad place to be, but student discipline was always a, what the hell was that? What? Was always a, I was somehow going backwards repeatedly without being pushed into doing it. So unless that was a mind trick by Ray, I'm not sure what that was.
West Juggernaut disabled.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that where the burnout hits. It will probably in the next couple of weeks, because as we get to the with the online courses, the kids have some flexibility of their own where they can sort of work at their own pace as long as they finish on time. So I have a lot of students who are behind who are now catching up, which means that there'll be a fast and furious surge of activity over the next couple of weeks. But, you know, you accommodate for that. You know, you figure out what times it tends to come in, get up a little earlier, keep checking on the system a little later in the evening just to make sure the kids get the support they need, and you just kind of roll with it. It's that question, it's that difference between, are you teaching for a paycheck versus are you teaching to support students? And at least for now, the program that I've been involved with the last few years, it's all about what's best for the student. Like if a question comes up, oh, can we do this? Is this okay to do, to like offer this opportunity kind of stuff? It comes down to, well, is it what's best in the best interest of the students? If so, yes. But we have to remember that what's in the best interest of the students doesn't necessarily mean what's in the best interest of the student passing. It's what's in the best interest of the student. So if a student has done absolutely nothing, and the student's like, well, could you just make it so all I have to do is take the final and not do anything else in the entire rest of the class so that I can still maybe pass? That's not in the best interest of the student in the long run, because it's basically give them a way to BS their way through a course without actually learning anything. Uh-oh! Yeah, I'm gonna die. So yeah. And I think it's easy to find yourself just doing it for a paycheck when you've got a job where you're sort of trapped in the room and you have all these restrictions of, you know, stand at your door for this kind of time and that kind of stuff, where it's a very regimented day. But when your day has almost no structure to it, like my day's structure is make sure to respond to academic concerns, emails, texts, things in the system within 3 hours during the hours of between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. That's all the structure that we actually have imposed on us. You have to create your own structure and find what works best for you in that environment. And the students are kind of doing the same thing. And you find very quickly that it's much easier to focus on student need when you have that flexibility. Like I had a kid who would have a tendency to jump onto the system very early in the morning before classes started last year. Like, we're supposed to be technically on 8 to 8. This kid's only chance to get online was between 6 and 7 in the morning before he actually went to school, because he was taken outside the regular school day, and he worked all evening to help support his family. So I would just get up a little early and check and make sure he didn't need anything. Then I'd lay back down for like a half an hour, then get back up and start being able to provide the support to everybody else. We have that flexibility to do what is needed. But obviously it's not something that all teachers, in fact most teachers, have the ability to do because of the settings that they're in. I sort of thank my lucky stars every day that, you know, I've been blessed to have some really great opportunities the last few years that have really kind of been absolutely life-changing experiences. And I say that, and I felt myself almost becoming choked up a little bit, because one of the people who helped to make that possible for me is actually leaving our county for a new opportunity. Today is actually I think today or tomorrow is actually her last day. But this is the woman who used to teach AP World History in the school where I taught, and when she left, she recommended that I pick up with AP World, which got me into any AP teaching. When the time came for me to have some other job opportunities within the county, including being able to be the online teacher for social studies, I think it was her recommendation that put me over the top. It's just, I've been very fortunate in that regard. I mean, it's still teaching, it's still teacher pay, which could always be better. Unless you're in like New York or something where the teachers' unions are dominating everything. We don't have unions down here. I mean, it's... I always try to keep things in perspective of, you know, When I have a bad day, it's still better than a lot of times a mediocre day where I used to teach. So I'm not going to let myself get too stressed about it. I'm just going to find solutions rather than focusing on daily frustrations, you know. So what do I feel? How do I feel about teachers saying about why do you need a study guide? So it depends. I mean, it depends on the class and the structure of the class. Some teachers' philosophy is basically if you master it from the lessons themselves, you shouldn't need a study guide. You should already know it. But I think that comes down to a recognition of. I don't like criticizing other teachers, but it comes down to sort of a recognition of the fact that not all students learn the same way, not all students process information the same way. So you want to try to provide as many opportunities for success as possible, so some students may need a study guide, some students may not. Some students may need help taking notes and need things like graphic organizers, and some students may be very self-directed on taking notes and not need to worry about you giving them a graphic organizer to help. In fact, a graphic organizer may just confuse the issue for some. It really comes down to learning styles and things like that, but unfortunately a traditional classroom, by its very nature, a lot of times winds up being sort of a one-size-fits-all type of thing, because it's really difficult to differentiate for 30 or 35 students when you've got 180 some odd students in a given day, and you're so focused on things like the discipline aspect and taking attendance and all the little minutia that there's no time in the day for a teacher to actually do that kind of differentiation. It's why we're sort of moving more towards that kind of thing now, and personalized learning is sort of the big thing in education right now, but it requires a lot of changes from a structural level at a school to really give teachers the opportunity to do that, to really help the students without being overwhelmed. Have I ever taken intercultural communication? No. Or if so, I mean, it wasn't called that. Like, I've taken world cultures classes, I've taught world cultures classes and stuff like that, but I mean, intercultural communication, not something specifically communication oriented. Yeah, and that comes back to the idea of the way assessment should work, right? There's teaching with minutia, and there's teaching for mastery. So, like, for instance, if I'm teaching a history class, right, and I'm teaching about the causes of World War I, then I'm going to expect the kids to master things like the whole dogpile effect that happened from the Treaty of Versailles, or not Treaty of Versailles, no, I said Treaty of Versailles, my brain just went, but for the post-Napoleonic era, and the agreements made for balance of power and so forth. Treaty of Versailles is after World War I. That's the end of World War I. And things like that. And the world sort of turning a blind eye to certain economic troubles and things like that. But I'm not going to necessarily expect the student to be able to say it's because of this specific law in this specific year unless it's actually something with a specific name. Congress of Vienna was what I was thinking there instead of Treaty of Versailles. That's where my brain went. I confused my V's for a second. But I think that it's easier, frankly, to make a test question that's identify this, name this, rather than broader understandings. But that's a difference between standards referenced and standards-based education. If your standards are written well for your state, you know. It's sort of a different. That's why it's hard to have any kind of national standard for education, because even if you try to have a national standard, like say Common Core, which has some positive aspects for social studies but sucks really bad for science and math, it's still going to be layered on top of local stuff. So you're never really going to have that type of one-size-fits-all kind of solution, and maybe it shouldn't even exist. But it makes for a heck of a time trying to prepare teachers to teach in multiple environments and have practices that'll work everywhere, unfortunately. Can I come teach? Nope. I'm good where I am, but I see the LOL. I get that it was a joke. Have you ever thought of teaching a film of culture course? No. Mainly because it isn't something that's available to us. teach like an online Star Wars continuity class. If someone would pay me to do it, but I guess that's basically what the timeline is designed for.
Roger, roger.
Well, I actually got 9 kills. I was thinking I had less than that since I've been using the... I haven't really been using the disruption. I've been thinking while playing and talking while playing to the point where the last few minutes kind of feel like a haze. So I'm not exactly sure if I've gotten any kills or anything in the last few minutes. I know I've got shot a few dozen times, probably. Alright. I'd like to think that just listening to Chrono Radio and Star Wars Beyond the Films and stuff like that is now a master's class. You can pick up a Saga on Home Video, which is basically like a master's class textbook for Star Wars home video history.
Exterminate the Republic forces.
Kill assist, awesome.
Never thought I'd be down in the trenches.
Never thought I'd be down in the trenches, down among the wenches.
Explosive online at the rear pipe.
Oh, down. I was hoping to get close enough to do a disruption, but I don't think that's going to be possible. I'm surrounded according to this, so I'll try disruption. Ah, it's Yoda! Yoda! Run! It's Yoda, and Yoda's gonna kill my ass. I wonder if kills by detonating your turret count as a turret kill. Because that's another one that I need to do at some point for the officer. Once I finish the disruption, when I need to go back and do more turret kills.
Hey, we've got a new ally.
You gotta turn off disruption though, because the turret is that right-hand star card slot. It's the default. And it gets replaced when you bust out the disruption. Roll back in here, you! Alright, run up, run up, run up, run up, run up. They're gonna be coming around the corner or something, probably. Nope. Up here. And it's all my side. Here comes a hero. I need a hero. Disrupt! Kill him, kill him, kill him. Here's disruption. Kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Kill assist. Hallelujah. I'm assuming it counts when you kill a hero. I do have 8,000 now, though how I got the 8,000 I have no idea. But I don't have enough. There's only 3 more kills before the end of the match. So the chances of actually being able to spawn as any of the heroes is pretty slim. So I'll just go back as officer again. That's fine. I think I've seen the 77 Spider-Man series, but it would have been when I was really young, like when they would have still been airing syndicated reruns of it. And we win!
Objectives complete.
We win! We win!
And the battle for Kashyyyk will soon be won.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near any of those. There's a part of me that says I can't wait till I'm done with the milestones so I could just focus on just playing. But there's also a part of me... There we go. Okay, so I'm at 6 now. And 37, so that's not bad with those two. But at the same time, when there's no milestones to do, that also means no more chances for crystals. That also means no more chances for crates outside of buying them with credits. So it kind of sucks. But at least for now, there's plenty of things still to do. There needs to be an app for this one like there was for the first one. They would actually allow for, you know, some tracking of your milestones outside of having to go to the career menu. Because you can't even, like, pause it and check your milestones in the middle of a match. But that's okay. I will probably... I may even do that tonight. Once I get done with the stuff I need to get done here in a little bit. Once I end the stream. But I may go through here and just jot down what I need for all the different career milestones still, so I can just cross them off the list and have them in front of me. So that if I'm in the middle of a match and I'm just getting tired of trying to do disruption kills, for instance, I can say jump to assault and go after a kill streak vanguard kind of kills or something. No, not enough to go get anything at this point. But yeah, what I was saying, so like, if you're... Like, for instance, I'm the officer, right? So I was playing as the officer, so I'm level 8, and I still say that looks like Jaime Lannister a little bit. But it's actually Tamira Morrison, of course, or based on him. But if I want to upgrade Disruption to the next level, it requires me to not only be at level 20 for my entire account, which I almost am, I'm 19 right now. It also requires level 25 for the officer. So regardless of how high my rank is for my account, I would have to get a whole bunch more officer star cards, even if they're ones I'm not planning to use, to have more tick marks, because there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's why I am level 8, or card level 8 for the officer, because just counting the tick marks, 3, 4, and 1. I would have to get another 17 tick marks worth from other cards just to be able to upgrade Disruption to Epic and get that extra 2 whatevers, meters or whatever, of distance for Disruption. So you have your ranking, you also have your star card tick marks mattering for each one, just like I don't have that one unlocked, because until I could do it real quick. But I'm already at 950 crafting points. I want to wait till I'm over 1,000 game before I start just randomly unlocking stuff, maybe. Or no, I'll do it. I'll do it because I was just talking about that resourceful thing. So let me go in here. Resourceful. Craft for 40 crafting items. Crafting parts or whatever. Okay. Still can't equip it without it taking the place of one that I've already got there. But that means I'm now level 9 because that's one more tick mark added into my cards. So let me go in here, take the same card, upgrade it for 80. Now it's got 2 tick marks. Now I'm at level 10, which means that now I can equip it. Right? It's kind of just a weird way that works. But maybe that'll help me speed up trying that Disruption over and over again to get the whatchamacallit, to get the milestone done. There's not a lot of milestones outside of arcade. I mean, I've only got 7 more to do for multiplayer. And then I'll be doing a lot of Starfighter stuff, I guess, but most of the Starfighter ones are hero ones. 3 for each hero ship of some kind. And you got heroes, which is basically just, I guess, play a lot of heroes versus villains, because you don't get enough time with the heroes, even if you earn enough to use them once in a typical match. Troopers is a lot, you know, that's deceptive to a degree. It looks like there's a lot of stuff you can do with each trooper class, but only kind of, because 3 of each of those are 50... 150 and 250 or so, or whatever it is, kills for each individual weapon that can be modified. So, meh. Alright, I'm going to head out of here, though, folks. Thank you for jumping into the chat, especially JL, who's been with the chat throughout. I'll be doing another stream, I guess, probably, like I said, if I do one on the weekend. The first opportunity I'll have will be Saturday before 2, but it depends on how much time I put into doing a quick Doom VFR, PlayStation VR Let's Play kind of thing, and whether that sucks up whatever time I was going to use to do that sort of thing. And then on a Sunday, more than likely, I'll have more of an opportunity to do so and may be able to get Jim back on, just like I had Jim on here as a recent guest to discuss the game and whatnot as we're playing, and maybe help me get those stupid kills that I've been trying, or kill assists with the Disruption that I've been trying to do. But for now, be sure to check out the patch notes for the game over on the Battlefront forums. Not everything is necessarily listed. They didn't list the thing about 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, but at least it lets you know what has been tweaked. For now, I am Nathan P. Butler, author of A Saga on Home Video, which you can find on Amazon, creator of the Star Wars Timeline Gold, which you can find at StarWarsFanWars.com/timeline, and one of the 2 hosts of both Cloud City Casino and Star Wars Beyond the Films, which you can find at StarWarsReport.com. Thank you for watching. Thanks, JL. Have a good one, and I'll catch you guys later.